Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Podcasters Live Stream. I just wanted to say thank you again for showing up and being here. If you guys enjoy this or watching the replay video, hey, feel free to leave your comments below. If you're joining us live, feel free to leave your comments and questions here, and we'll be glad to answer them as we go. But I think you're going to want to make sure and grab a piece of paper or pen, pencil, something to write some stuff on, because we'll probably be at this about 45 minutes. Hit these 10 tools, take some Q&A, and then call it an evening for you. But anyway, once again, thanks for being live here on the Podcasters live stream. So jacked up, excited to be here. I have to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Podcast Business Journal. Make sure you check them out at podcastbusinessjournal.com. They do a great job out there with such great information on topics, other podcasters, podcasts, and events that are going on in the industry. So check them out at podcastbusinessjournal.com. But I wanted to dive into this content with you guys that I think you're really going to enjoy, and also add a lot of value to what you're working on, to your podcast or your whatever marketing, whether it's just a video or audio show or whatever. So we label this thing 10 unique ways to market, well, not really your note, but your podcast business there for you. And these tools are stuff that we're using with our podcast and our other businesses to help us really drive engagement to the podcast, driving people to sign up and using these things to help boost our downloads, also increase engagement in different platforms, and also add credibility out there. So I think you're really going to enjoy this. What I would recommend that you do, if you don't already do this, is if you have a website for your podcast, great. That's a beautiful thing. But for those of you that don't, that you have a main website, you may want to create or website it's different from what you're doing. Go out and create a landing page, at least for something for your podcast to be. Maybe you highlight the episode. Maybe you upload the audio there, or you do a blog there. I highly recommend. I love WordPress for that, but an easy alternative to have something is to just use a one-page landing page. Now you can use MailChimp has an opportunity there. They'll create landing pages to go along with your email campaigns. Infusionsoft also will create landing pages through their software, and that's who we use for our email campaigns. So it's an easy opt-in. Somebody goes to our landing page and opts in, it automatically goes into Infusionsoft, and we get them tagged there so that we can send an email out to them. Now, we also use lead pages for special events, for just information and with links that take them to other things, to checkouts or opt-ins or things like that. But lead pages is pretty inexpensive. We also use ClickFunnels for landing pages as well, just in case one of those goes down. We have the exact same thing up and ready to rock and roll in. We also use lead pages for different events. If you're going to do like an event for your podcast, maybe a launch where you're going to do a live launch of recording 5, 10 episodes, or you're going to do a celebration, or you're coming live to an area, why not do a live event at an area? But use something. Now, I wouldn't necessarily go out and create like a Wix website or something like that. These are kind of meant to be temporary, but at least you got something up versus nothing. We have done lead pages, landing pages for like when we did Note Camp, which is one of our podcasts, where we put all the speakers on there, or we've done National Social Media Day or International Podcast Day. We created a lead pages, landing page that allowed for people to see what's going on, some of the guests we have or we're having, and it's at least a great way to get things started before maybe you invest in a big website. So tell your story. This is a great thing that I think a lot of people forget about, is you want to have a story about what's going to have a video. What's your event about? What's your podcast about? If you've got some other things you want to highlight, tell stories on there. It's a great thing. You may want to talk about case studies if you're an educational side of your podcast, or you're selling something. Maybe you have some of those testimonials there. You can use this for different aspects, like what we do in real estate. I highly recommend see people create a special landing page for like investors, or if they're selling like a property, or they're selling a product, maybe a separate page for each one. If you're going to be doing a lot of Q&A, or maybe you push people to an evergreen webinar, maybe it's a short 30 to 45-minute webinar from your podcast where the people can learn more about what you are, or what you're doing, or what you offer up. That's a great way to do it. And that's one of the things that we do. We have a ClickFunnels page. When people want to learn more about our education, they click off our main website. It takes them to our lead page. There's a webinar that plays their evergreen, and there's places for them to opt in. And then we house our educational training there as well. So just have a couple different landing pages, see what's working, test around with it. Pretty inexpensive to do. And it can be an effective way for you to do some split testing on what works best before you do go to a full site website. Okay. That's number 10. 9, this is something that I've heard people comment on, and I realize it makes the most amount of sense and one of the easiest things that anybody here can do. This is improving or expanding on your LinkedIn and iTunes, either your profile summary or your true description, not episode description on iTunes, but the true podcast description. Now, LinkedIn gives you up to 2,000 characters, which is about 350 to 400 words for you to really fill out and talk about what you're doing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great way to market your podcast because there's so many great niches and groups and people there. And now the fact that they're using hashtags and being able to use live video, great way, especially in some sort of business aspect of things. This is a great way that we've really used to expand our audience and seen a direct correlation. The more we post of our podcast on LinkedIn, it's funny, more people actually download and listen, okay? It also helps your SEO with LinkedIn. It makes it more searchable. Obviously, they can find it. You can also, in your summary on LinkedIn, you can post images, PowerPoint slides, or slide share presentations. If you're talking about something that's really interesting, kind of like this presentation, you can put that there. You can post a video if you want to share a subject or a topic or a little bit more about you or your show. That's a great place to go. I even will post events there, what's going on as we rotate through. Most people are coming across my profile that I'm not really connected with. Now, the nice thing about your profile is the more you're marketing there or you're inviting people to connect, they're going to go to your profile and take a look at it. So I've used LinkedIn to reach out to other real estate investors, other note investors, because that's the big focus of my podcast. I've also used it to reach out to podcast hosts to connect with them, and I can see them looking at my profile because that's what LinkedIn will allow. I have a free version that allows you to see who's looking at your profile, and that's a really good thing. Now, iTunes, while it's a little bit smaller aspect of it's just the audio side of things for the most part, iTunes allows you up to 4,000 characters to describe your podcast. Do you know how SEO rich you can make 4,000 characters? That's a lot. I mean, that is a really awesome thing. I mean, it's like a whole YouTube description is like 5,000 characters. So it's a great way for you to talk in depth about your show. And now the beautiful thing, you're probably thinking like, man, I got a new show on iTunes. I don't know what I'm going to share all about that. That's great. You can go back and edit. Once your show is live, once your show is uploaded to iTunes, you can go back and edit your description multiple times, change the artwork. So I would go back and edit and tweak it. And every time we've gone back and added it and refined it, we've seen a little bump as it becomes more searchable, as people are looking on podcasts for stuff. Once again, it has helped us boost in the rankings as well. Okay. Any questions so far about those first couple of things? No? All right, good. Moving on. 8. This is something I learned at a podcasting mastermind with my, we've had Thomas Umstadt on here before talking about some great things. And he shared some great stats how to use a podcast and what's so great about it. But he originally shared with me and about 40 other podcasters at a podcasting mastermind a year ago here in Austin about the fact that if you have a book of any sort, and he does novel marketing, it's his company, okay? Many of you have a book or been a part of a book. You had a chapter, or maybe you got some ebooks or something like that. Get it uploaded to Amazon. Because the minute you have an Amazon author page, it allows for you to share some stuff too that I think it's this great thing that people aren't sharing. It's free to have once you have a page. It's free to have an author page. Okay, it doesn't cost you anything to create, but you can add your bio. You can add your other ebooks as links. You can start putting together kind of your catalog of books you're part of. So as people look at that, they may look at other things or about the author or things like that of the books. Okay. You can also add like 5 photos and a video as well. I need to go back and edit the video that I had because I realized when I look at my author page, when I was creating this slide, like, oh, my video is out of date. I need to go back and edit it anyway. But the beautiful thing, if you take your RSS feed from your podcast and put it in, because it asks for your blog. If you have a blog, you put in there. If you put your RSS feed to your podcast, every time you upload a new episode and make it go a new episode public, it will upload it into Amazon. So it looks like a different blog post. And so people are seeing 500 other episodes of my podcast on my Amazon Scott Carson author page. And that's free. Doesn't cost you anything as well. If you're an author and you've got a book out, go on there and put your RSS feed in there. It's such a valuable tool for people to watch and learn, okay? So, yeah, if you have a blog with it, they're great, fine. Put a podcast or a YouTube feed there as well. All right, Instagram Live. I'm going to reiterate this a little bit because I've been using a little bit more of this in our marketing of our podcast, especially on our podcast Instagram page, not my personal page, and this has been helping us drive some engagement there, is doing like our buddy Adam Schreibel on the very first Podcasters Live Stream talked about, doing mini summits. This is a very cool thing. It'll help you boost your Instagram. It's free to do. Go basically you can do Instagram Live for 60 minutes. And I did a Monday night earlier this week. I have my regular coaching call, and I did an Instagram Live on what I was sharing, which is great. Shared some content there. But with the mini summits, one of the things that you can do is you can bring on, I would bring on 3 other people for 15 minutes each and share a nugget. Maybe you're doing an Instagram Live to promote your 3 episodes from the week, or for your 3 episodes from the last month. So maybe bring on your guests from each one. They each got 10 to 15 minutes to talk about it, and then you wrap up. But they've got to follow you, all right? They've got to follow you on Instagram to be able to come on live. And it's kind of an easy 3-step process. But like I said, they must follow you. And the beautiful thing is when they go live, when you bring them on live on your mini summit, their audience is notified that they're going live, and vice versa. And so it's a great way if you're doing like 3. So you got you plus 3. That's a great way to draft off of, each other to boost your audience. Okay. And then you connect with the viewers after you do the event. You connect with people that comment or like and something like that. So, and then we'll send a private message with those that are viewing it and watching it afterwards. You may want to have a VA log in and look at and do that for you. But it's a great way. I've really had some great content. I actually got 3 people coming on the podcast here in the next couple of weeks that came from doing this, that were fellow podcasters, and I love it. And they, in turn, invited me to be on there. So that's kind of a cool thing. So easy. I got this. If you're just listening, you can't see this, but if you're watching, this these 4 images, Emily over here is starting doing a Facebook Live. You see people start to message. You can see them come on. You can say, hey, request here at the bottom, somebody come on. So this guy, Emily's saying, accepted your request to join their live video. Clicked on it, and now he's live at the bottom. Now you only bring on 1 person live at a time. Now, like in Zoom, you can bring on 20 people. Facebook Live, you could do up to 3 or 4. B.Live, you could do 4 people. But this is a cool little thing. It's very simple. If Instagram's a big thing that helps you market with your podcast, then I would do this once a week at least. Pretty simple to do. You could do it as episodes come out. You could do a pre-launch the day before or the day afterwards, just a really kind of a cool thing to help to promote your episodes. Okay, and you know what? That was free as well for you. Another tool that you're going to love is this is a thing you got to organize your calendar. I talk to so many new podcasters, and they're like, well, it takes a lot of work to find all this stuff. As they're recording, trying to do the DIYers out there, I got to find the person's bio. I got to find their headshot, and they're spending a lot more time editing, trying to track this stuff down. And I just say, why track it down? Make the person who's going to be your guest go in and put their information and what they want to say into your calendar. And Calendly does cost you something. It's pretty inexpensive, but it's one of the most effective tools to having it be organized. It allows you to control your schedule. I like to time block my calls for listeners. So when people reach out to me or I offer, hey, shoot me a text message and let's talk, I'll send them the link to either 15 to 60 minutes so they can schedule time to visit with me. And we can have it. It's a coaching call. It's a great way to directly connect, but it also allows me to send it, and then of course it blocks it out of my Outlook calendar so that I'm not overbooking myself. And I use Calendly for a variety of things, but I like to text people that link, and I also use it when it allows me to collect their info, bio, link to their headshot, their social media, all sorts of stuff. It allows you to add like 15, 20 questions in full if you're asking. It's a great thing to use. Okay, phone, email, social media, focus of the call. Lots of you want to have different things you're talking to people about. You want to use this not only for your regular bio, your regular business, besides your podcast. You can select what they're talking about and go from there. But use something to control your calendar. All right. This is something I've been using very effective recently. I mean, I've always used text messaging in my marketing here. And like if I say, if you text the word notes or text the word podcast to 72000, you're going to get a link with some links to some videos or some training or some opt-in. So it's a really great thing. Well, as I've been out networking, oftentimes you'll get business cards that don't have phone number or don't have emails, or maybe you'll get a list of people and be able to, list of business cards. May not always have email. So what I wanted to do, I didn't want to send individual emails to all these people, but I also didn't want to just send a group email and miss out on the people that didn't have an email on it or I didn't get their information. So as long as I grab a people's phone number, I use Easy Text. Easy Texting has been a really cool service recently. EasyTexting.com is a website. For $49 a month, you get 1,000 text messages. It's free for like the first 200 messages. But I will upload a list, first name, last name, and their phone number, and send a text message out, 140 characters, and it goes out a text message to people. Like I sent out, hey, it was great networking with you today. Love to visit with you more about what we're doing. Here's my direct email and direct cell phone number just in case you didn't get my business card. This allowed for me to reach people that I didn't have their email address and get them if they click on my Calendly link, which I inserted into the text message. Now I've got all their information that I need to, and that's a beautiful thing. So I like this. There's other cool tools you can do, keywords, opt-ins, and some other stuff, but it tells you how effective your campaign was. Like I sent it out to 40 people today that I met this morning, and it was an 85% success ratio. The others that it didn't go out to, I knew were landlines, or they weren't able to, and I could follow up individually with those people if I needed to. But it also allowed for me to personalize it. So hey, Tanya, or hey, Jim, instead of saying hey, it allowed for me to personalize it. Anytime you can personalize your response to your audience, your listeners, they think they're really, like you're really talking to them, okay? And that's a really nice thing. And you can, if they respond to the text message, it responds it, and so you can answer directly to them via that text message, or I would direct it via sending an individual text message to their my phone. So it's not like a generic 484848 was the generic number that Easy Texting uses, okay? Now, one of the things I think it's important to do when you get people to listen to you, people to opt in, is try to get as much information as you can so you can be more effective in knowing your listener base, knowing your avatar. So I like using surveys with listeners, and I don't do this every day. I don't make it, hey, you opted in, here's a survey. I send this out, hey, would you fill this out? Would you fill this out? About once a month to some of our listeners. You wait a month, hey, thanks for opting in October. Love to find out more about who you are so we can be more effective in what we're doing with our podcasts. And so SurveyMonkey, I ask simple questions, email, cell phone if I don't have that, address if I want to send them something, their date of birth. So if I want to, I can send them a birthday card. And this is something we're doing starting January, is to start sending out postcards or letters wishing people happy birthday of our listeners. Just a little extra touch, okay? SurveyMonkey, more expensive than Calendly, but it's well worth it if you use it. But we ask their focus, especially, hey, they focus on first lien, second lien, especially with our note business. What's their biggest need? You can ask a whole variety of different, do you have an LLC is what we've used, or hey, what social media profiles do you listen to? How do you listen to the podcast or watch it? What do you want to accomplish this year? How many deals you've done? What are your top 3 states to invest in, or other things that you can really customize your questions, and it becomes effective. And, I'm not going to tell you a lot of people fill this out, but if you, like, we've done special events and had a 30% opt-in rate where people filled out the survey out of like 700 or 1,000 people. 30% is a lot of people. Podcasters are a little slower to fill this out. We see a really low hit rate, but every time you can get something, it makes you that much more effective in helping that person out and identifying opportunities, okay? Highly recommend maybe you send this out once in a while. Make it once where you're getting information, you ask them for information, but then also maybe once in a while you send it out for testimonials. Hey, would love for, if you're interested, to send us a blind, testimonial. If yes, great. If not, don't worry about it. Or how can we do better to serve you is a good one too, right? This is something I think a lot of people are forgetting about. We're so used to going out and asking for people to leave a 5-star review in iTunes, which iTunes doesn't even look at that for the most part. That becomes our own ego bait. But why not use LinkedIn and leverage the power of LinkedIn recommendations in your podcast? If you've all got podcasts in our profile, start reaching out to people and asking, hey, if you're going to be a guest, leave me a great recommendation on not only on iTunes, but also on LinkedIn. Or if it's people I've had on, I'm going back in and leaving recommendations for our great guests. Because I had not been doing it, and this just dawned on me. I was like, oh my gosh, good stuff. And if you're on here or listening to the replay, I would love it if you left me a LinkedIn recommendation if you love the show or love what we're doing here on the Podcasters live stream. So if you do that, I'll make sure, reach out, talk with you, and see about leaving you a LinkedIn recommendation as well. So it's not hard to do. You can see how many you've received and how many you've given. It's down the page on LinkedIn if you have a LinkedIn profile. But just a great way to use. And you can take these recommendations and turn them into testimonials, little testimonial images. You could maybe ask your joint venture partners or people that are clients of yours to leave a recommendation. Vendors to leave a recommendation. But these are things you can boost your profile. Maybe you give a shout out on your show, the social media that you can post. I mean, it's just a great thing. One of the things that we're doing is taking the 5-star reviews from iTunes, putting a video together and mixing in our recommendations about the show. So it's a great way to do that and a great way to give a shout out and then post to people. Because I have found the more that you can do shout outs or reach out to people, help stroke their egos, the more they're willing to respond. And so it's really symbiotic. If you're not giving shout outs, you're probably not going to get a lot of people to respond to your show, okay? Or to leaving your reviews, whether it's on iTunes or to LinkedIn. And I actually think LinkedIn is much more valuable than iTunes, but I have not been asking for this, and I'm going and doing a lot more of this in the near future, okay? Another thing that I think people should do more of is short videos. Now, yes, we're live streaming this to Facebook. Yes, it'll be on YouTube as an hour-long video, but I like to go ahead and share little videos. And one of the things that I've been doing is if people are opting in to our text messaging service or linking back in individually, I get an email that, hey, somebody opted into your mastermind or people have opted into the podcast thing. I'll take the time to short 1-minute video and then send them that as a text message. Hey, Eugene, it was great meeting with you the other day. You want your videos to be about a minute or less, because otherwise it gets longer than a minute. It's hard for a regular text message to go out. You may have to send it via Messenger, okay? But this is a screenshot. I had a guy opt in Monday to a list on my website. I got a link. Hey, so-and-so opted to your list. 10:39 a.m. when I'm looking at it, I finished up with my podcast episode. I sent him, say, hi, Eugene. It's a short 1-minute video. And then in the video, I talk about, hey, my link to my calendar is going to be below. And I use my calendar link there, okay? Very easy. It's actually a really good, it's like an 80% opt-in ratio. And then I had Eugene opt in. We had a great 20-minute phone call yesterday, if I remember correctly, yesterday at 4 o'clock. I've been using this with Facebook responses, too, for things. Like I'll start putting videos into responses in different groups versus just typing in, because it gives a little bit more interaction. People are paying attention to it, okay? Group questions, comments, great thing to do. Increase views, increase your responses across different platforms. And it gets more people opting in. That's what we want, getting people to literally, so just listening, taking action. And I had a great conversation with Eugene. He may not be a client, but he's been listening to the podcast. And we got some great responses. I said, hey, how did you come across me? And he actually came across me via YouTube video versus listening to the podcast right first. So that's kind of a cool thing out there as well. I've also been inserting more videos. That was my truck out there. It's not. I've been inserting videos into emails, 2-minute videos, 3-minute videos into emails as I send out to people as well. So when people, if I have an email, like I go to a networking event and I do have emails, I send an email out and it's got that a short 2-minute video attached. Hey, it was great meeting with you at the networking club this morning. Love to visit with you. Look forward to joining you at next week's networking event. Something simple. Hey, have a great weekend. Hey, if you forget about what I did, here's what I do. We'd love to talk with you. Okay. With those videos, I'll record them on my phone because it's really great HD. It's easy to do versus setting up a Zoom call or recording anything else. But then I upload it to YouTube and I leave it as unlisted. I don't leave it as public where everybody can see it. I leave it as unlisted, so those that click on the link are the only ones that I can track how many people watched the video that clicked on the link and go from there. And it's a good thing for opt-ins. When people opt into a thing, there's a short video attached to that landing page as well. But short videos, it really helps people start to build rapport. They start to see that you're real personality versus just listening to you. Plus, they can see, hey, that you're the real person that you are when you're on video or on a podcast, and you can see kind of some of the things that you're doing. Okay, and really kind of buy in as like they get to know you. Okay. Number one, this is a thing I think a lot of people need to spend more time on, especially marketers, especially podcasters, is Upwork.com. I hired 2 people this week at $3.25 an hour to do some work for me as far as marketing. Okay. They may do some list scrubbing. Okay. But I went to Upwork.com, filled out a profile. Hey, I need a marketing assistant for my podcast. And they're doing things like data entry. And they're going to go back in and pull the transcription of my episodes from the and put that into the video description on YouTube. They're going to go in and jump into LinkedIn, connect with more people that way. They're going to go out, and when I get a list in of people's just phone numbers, I can scan them the list. They'll go out and find emails at people's companies for me to be able to do that. There's a whole variety of great things they're doing. We do a lot with local counties. So I have them actually going out on the local counties and looking for real estate investors in those areas that we can then find an email and then send a list out to them, or I can send a mass postcard. Hey, you listen to the podcast? Love to listen to you. So there's a whole, you can do short term, maybe 6 hours, 10 hours, or ongoing. I'm doing an ongoing one, but Upwork, $3.25 an hour. I mean, if you want to do something more advanced at 20, but literally you can hire people and see their work experience for $3.25 an hour, less than a cup of coffee. I mean, if I put them to work for 40 hours a week, that's $140. I know that may be big, but you could hire somebody for 10 hours a week to help you with some of your simple marketing, some of your simple sharing or optimization or things like that, or do some video things. Just got to spend time and coach them about how to do things. Okay. But those are the 10 things that I love that we've been using quite a bit of lately. I mean, I've used Upwork for a variety of things over the years. And, especially it's a lot cheaper than hiring a local college student, 15 or 20 bucks an hour. Somebody who's got some experience. You still got to spend time coaching and training them, but it's important out there as well. So what questions, comments you guys have out there that are watching live? They're joining us here as well tonight. So always good to see people. Hey, Angela. Hey, Bonnie. Hey, George. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Liz. Hey, Michelle. Thanks for joining us on here. But those are some really great tools that we've used to really, really expand our audience, help us market our shows. I mean, a lot of people will just record something and throw it out there. And if you record it, they won't always come. Okay. Your listeners need to be prodded or poked or told about you and your shows. Just posting it to YouTube or just posting it to somewhere else doesn't help. And so you've got to spend that extra time to go out there and really connect with them or say, hey, here's something here you might want to listen to. And so those are some really great tools that'll help build credibility. They'll help you organize your schedule, help you outsource your work, and really add some cool stuff to your podcast. So any other questions, comments, concerns? Wow, we went by pretty fast on this on a Podcasters live stream. We're at 27, 28 minutes, unless there's any questions out there for everybody. But absolutely love these tools and stuff that we're using on a regular basis. I mean, just think about it. If you were to get a recommendation from every guest you had on, or you gave a recommendation for every guest that you had on your podcast, that's a great way to reciprocate value. Okay. Instead of asking just for a 5-star iTunes thing, go to LinkedIn, which a lot of people use in business. Some great stuff out there. Michelle Kogler, awesome. Hey, by the way, everybody, we do have an upcoming event in December that I want to share with you guys. December 12th and 13th. That's a Thursday, Friday. I know weekends are busy on holidays, months anyway. But Thursday, Friday here in Austin, Texas, we have our next podcast mastermind, all right? Or as I call it, the Mass Media Mastermind. So I want to pull this up there. Very inexpensive for you guys. And we had such a great time at the last event. I've got to get in here and have my VA go on and upload the people that are attending this. And we would love to have you. If you're a podcaster in the podcasting industry, the Mass Media Mastermind is a great hit in Orlando. We're 56 days out from this. Right now, bare bones, $250 per person for you to come here. It's 2 days basically here at our offices in Austin, Texas. And we've got a rough itinerary down here at the bottom. We'll probably change this up a little, but I know we're going to be changing a couple things, but this is a rough itinerary. People at the last time, I know people that were there got cross-booked. They've been using tools to increase their productivity, increase downloads. People are cross-sharing, doing affiliate splits or speaking in other places. And that's what the Mass Media Mastermind is. We're going to go through great ways to get you out. Some of the tools that we're using, tools that maybe we use and haven't been happy with. That's an important thing as well. Because you don't want to spend your money or time on things that aren't going to be effective for you. I think we can all agree to that, right, everybody? So love to have you out. $250, great way for you to come in 2 weeks before the end of the year, really put some things in and help you start implementing things into 2020 there for you. So like I said, whether you're here locally in Texas or outside, we've got hotels nearby. Breakfast and lunch will be taken care of both days. Dinner will probably go somewhere and eat together as a group on that Thursday evening, but would love to have you the 19th and 20th of December here in Austin. Now this is limited to 30 people max. So we were actually, we only have 20 spots available left. We've got 10 people that already signed up for this. And so we've got 20 people, actually probably less than that now. I think about it, but love to have you. Mass Media Mastermind here in Austin, Texas, December 19th and 20th. And it's going to be a great event, just like our last one in Orlando. And then we'll have one probably sometime in April or May. And the next one maybe in San Diego. San Diego in April is pretty nice too. So any other questions, comments, concerns for everybody? Website for this is massmediamastermind.com. That'll get you forward right over here. Massmediamastermind.com is the way to get signed up. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Let's see if anybody's mentioned anything on the Facebook page. Got a few to see here. No, good stuff. Great stuff. All right, guys and gals, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Podcasters live stream. We won't be having one the next 2 weeks because I'll be out speaking on Wednesday nights. I may bring in a special guest and have somebody else hosted on Wednesday night. I'm still working for that. I just realized that I've got 2 speaking events the next Wednesday nights that I won't be able to be live here with you guys. So I may pre-record something and then have to go live at 7 o'clock on the Facebook group or restream it as well for you guys. But anyway, hopefully this is valuable for you all. Have a great day. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope these 10 tools will help you be even cooler with your podcast. So go out. We'll see you all at the top, everybody. Bye.